Can you see the dog passed out over there?
Oh, yes, I can. Look at that cutie. Look at that cutie. All right. Hello and welcome, everyone, to episode 62 of the GGG Podcast. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're listening to the audio-only version over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us over there as well. As usual, I am joined by my co-host, Phil. Phil, how's January going for you? We're in week 2 now. Week 2 of January, week 2 of 2025. Good vibes, bad vibes? It's been nothing but bad vibes in the news.
Yeah, I can report that January thus far in 2025 has been 8 to 10 business years long. Just because, so I work at a grocery store and, where I was, a lot of the power was out. But you know where the power wasn't out? At my work. So I was dealing with 70 mile per hour winds, just blowing stuff all in front of the store. I get there early in the morning, so I just kept getting news alerts about fires, and I was like, okay, I'm sick of working through catastrophes. But outside of that, I've been getting to play Marvel Rivals. That's pretty good.
Yeah, same here. I've been playing it like crazy. But yeah, hearts out to everyone. For those who don't know, Phil and I are in the LA area. We are safe from the fires, but hearts out to everyone who has been experiencing difficulties with that. It has been very disruptive in Los Angeles.
That's, we figured we'd kick it off here in Los Angeles with just, we're doing the new year on hard mode. We've trained. We are leveled up, and we are ready to push forward.
Yep. Yeah, as a reminder, January, the coldest month.
So you're going to say, as a reminder, January, the first month of the year.
Yes. And, yeah, both of those things.
Both those things.
So you've been mostly playing Marvel Rivals this week, then?
Yeah, I feel like I played something else. I've been taking some time swinging around in Spider-Man. But that's, it's been pretty chill. I've had a pretty Marvel heavy couple of weeks in my gaming. I really want to get back to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Oh yeah,
because I keep hearing good things about it, but I just have not had the time or the energy to commit to whatever the process is. It's like the intro of that game,
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, right on. I've been similarly playing a ton of Marvel Rivals. I know so many how to play so many characters now, which is great. I've been doing ranked or competitive, so that's been trialsome. But because the new season started, everybody started back at Bronze 3. I made it back to Bronze 1, and I did get a statistic, and I was like, "You are ranked higher than 65% of other players," and I was like, you know what? For Bronze 1, that's pretty good. I'll take that victory.
That's pretty good. I will say, we experienced a little bit of time playing together. Some toxic folks out there when it comes to this game.
Oh, yeah. I mute everybody. If people want to hit me up in the chat, I'll respond to the chat. But I'm not in voice chat. Can't be doing that.
No, it's rough in there.
So yeah. But along with that, I really haven't been playing that much stuff. Still been playing Star Wars Outlaws, God forgive me, and played a little bit more Armored Core, Fires of Rubicon, which has been okay. I've been playing the game in very short bursts of do a level. Okay, that's it.
It's functionally a very good game, but it is not something that makes you be like, well, I gotta do the next level. It's just, you're like, this is well-made punch, and then I put it back in the fridge and I close the door.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm a bit worried I've hit a wall in Star Wars Outlaws because I have gotten to the last quest in the game. And this is a very minor spoiler alert, very minor. But essentially the driving force for a large, I would say 60% of the game is you got to get a crew together to pull off a heist. Mm. And as soon as you get that crew together, they're like, okay, time to do the heist. And it's like, okay, the heist is the last mission. And you were like, oh, I was kind of hoping I was going to throw a crew together to do our first heist, and then we have a crew, and then I could, go or we could do heists, and that would be fun. But nope, none of that. So instead, you're just going to keep on crawling in vents and raiding things. And it's also
maybe they knew the game wasn't they're like, people aren't going to want to hang around. Let's just do the final raid and send them on their way.
I mean, I honestly think that this game, it subscribes to a very Ubisoft style of making a game where it's like, we're going to make these 4 planets and we're going to throw in all this design and it looks great and everything like that. But ultimately, we didn't think about the gameplay at all. And so what we did is we just put a bunch of camps all over the place. And unfortunately, because there's no XP system in the game, everything is tied to doing these raiding camps. Like, oh, I have to go sneak an event again. Or I have to go steal something again. And it falls into the repetitive Ubisoft thing. And so I feel like the heist and that mission, that's really the only attention they gave the level design and gameplay, where they were just like, all right, we're going to pour it into the big story mission, and everything else is pretty much playing the exact same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I'm at the point where it's like, when you get to the last mission of the game and you're like, oh, I want to finish everything before I do the last mission. And I'm kind of like, I really don't want to finish everything because everything is just going around and collecting a thing. Yeah. And so I'm having a mental dilemma, and I think the result of it might just be me not finishing the game.
Yeah. So. Now, that is the point where I will check out on most games where I'm like, close to the last mission, I should do all the other stuff. But I don't want to because I've just spent 40 hours doing that other stuff.
Right.
And then I don't want to finish the game unless I've done that stuff. So I better stop. Yes. And never touch it again. All right. Well, it's good to hear you got that far. It's good to hear you got that far. That is not an easy game to do the full story on, I think.
It's easy. It's just not enjoyable. So
and before we get to anything else, I do want to call it that you called a shot last week about Assassin's Creed Shadows possibly being delayed. And the day after we recorded the show, we got the red background with white text on it from Ubisoft that said, hey, sorry guys, we'll see you in March. So hopefully it's the last delay. Maybe this game won't come out.
No, there's going to be another one. I think Monster Hunter comes out at the end of February. Why are they going to compete with Monster Hunter? I know they're different types of games, but still.
If I have money that month, it's going to Monster Hunter. That's just where it's going.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We're gonna talk about Ubisoft a little bit. I got some Ubisoft predictions as well because we're doing our 2025 predictions for the main topic for this episode. So stay to the end of the episode or skip to the end of the episode if you want to just hear our 2025 predictions. But before we get into all that, the major releases for this week. So Hyperlight Breaker, early access Hyperlight Breaker, has officially come out on Steam. This is a game that has been delayed several times, and still it's in early access. So it's like, it is out, but is it? So for those who are unfamiliar, I would describe this game, at least from what I've seen of it and from what friends tell me about it, it is a mix between Risk of Rain 2, I will specify that, and Hades, where it's kind of like a progressive roguelike where you get certain perks and stuff like that for your character that stay with you for the various runs. But it is very much a roguelike game, and different from other roguelikes, your items will break, which is interesting and a little frustrating, although I have yet to play it, so I can't exactly claim that. But I know for me in a roguelike, I'm like, well, I've achieved God mode now, and if my weapon that I achieved God mode with breaks, then I mean, that's like the point of doing a roguelike, is having that perfect run where you're just unstoppable. So I don't know. You have any interest in picking this up, Phil?
I do. Part of me always wanted to play a Hyperlight Drifter, because like it's one of those indies that is just so unique looking, and I know it's tied to the person behind it going through like medical trouble, like that's where the story came from, and that's all very cool. I don't know. It's weird because I want to play it, but I'm like, should I play that first just to like give credence to what this is? I will probably just pick up Hyperlight Breaker
Yeah.
as well and play that and the first one at the same time. Because it is kind of my vibe. Like, I love a third-person action game. I love roguelikes. I love good combat. And the combat in it looks really snappy and fun, and you're upgrading your stuff. You got me. That's the hook for me.
Sure.
But I might wait for some updates or wait for a nice sale to, like, really pick this one up and take it home. These early access games pose such an interesting conundrum where I'm like, I really want to play it, but I don't want to play too much of it in early access that I don't want to come back when the game is done.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, you're going to be busy playing Dynasty Warriors Origins, right?
Oh, yeah. Listen, Dynasty Warriors Origins launches tomorrow. IGN gave it a 9.0. Most of its reviews, I think it's coming out like an 82 on Metacritic or an 86.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, especially for a Dynasty Warriors game. Those
Yeah.
things are usually like a D plus at best. It's just the same. You run. No offense to the creators. You're running around. You're smashing people. You're destroying stuff. It's just hundreds of people. It's the same 4 buttons. But in this one, it seems like they've really gone back to the drawing board, and like now you have all these special combos and like strategic abilities, and there's weather stuff. Seems really cool. The graphics are impeccable. This one is an interesting one to me.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, you didn't care for Space Marine 2 too much, and you described that as kind of Dynasty Warriors-y.
It is. Here's my thing. I like hitting stuff with swords and sticks more than guns, and I don't know why that is.
Okay.
I have to come
Fair
back
enough.
to Space Marine though, because I got the fancy version. You know, I got the like one that comes with all the DLCs, and I've just been like, yeah, one day will be the time when I'll finish this game.
Yeah, let me know, man. I mean, I can help you through it. I got a lot of very high level characters in that game. So, or if you just want to finish the campaign. So yeah. All right. Well, getting into the news, so something we reported on last year, but looks like there's been some more leaks and confirmation going around, is that the Horizon Zero Dawn, the PlayStation series, is looking to make a multiplayer version of the game, and this is going to be a dedicated multiplayer version of the game. This is not something that's going to be wrapped into Horizon 3, presumably. And so we talked about it a little bit in comparing it to like a Monster Hunter game, and just how the two games are a little bit different. I could see this working a lot, but I am really starting to get concerned that Sony is really squeezing the orange on Horizon a little bit too much, because I think this is one of their key franchises, no doubt, but I don't think it's as popular as they are selling it as. Like, I love Horizon personally, but I don't think it's their marquee game like God of War is, or like Uncharted used to be, or anything like that. So I'm curious to see gameplay, and with the cancellation of the multiplayer in Spider-Man, I do want to see some sort of first-party cooperative multiplayer from Sony that isn't Helldivers. But I don't know. How are you feeling about this, Phil? You're a Monster Hunter fan. Have you beaten the Horizon games, by the way?
I beat Horizon 1 and not Horizon 2. And I've done the same thing where I've gotten very, very far, close to the end, and I'm like, I'll come back to it. And then when I come back to it, I'm completely lost. So I do have to finish Horizon 2. I do think that great game. It would work as a multiplayer experience, but I think the way that it would work best is just give us Horizon Zero Dawn 3. and or whatever
Yeah.
that game is going to be, and just add multiplayer in there. This sounds weird, but I feel like I'm a little bit nostalgic for the times when games would be released and just have like a multiplayer component in them.
You mean like Space Marine?
Like Space Marine, yeah. Like that was the first game where I realized, like, oh yeah, games used to do this. They used to have,
games
like,
used to be like that. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, they did too much. They would just jam multiplayer and everything, and it didn't need it. The Last of Us arguably did not need multiplayer. It was great multiplayer, what they added, but that wasn't a game that was like, that makes me think, oh yeah, that needs multiplayer. So it's it's one of those balancing acts. But I do think a Horizon game that is maybe a bit more focused on survival and a bit more focused on like hunting would be a really fun game to experience with people. Or like trying to think of, there is a game where you are hunting like demons and monsters, but you are competing with other people who are hunting. I know it's on my Steam wishlist, but it's like a roguelike, so that when you die, you like your stuff is reset, but you can do consecutive hunts and get really good weapons and ammo. All that to say, like a competitive dinosaur hunting game would be really, really fun. Or like some mode. But outside of that, like you said, I don't know if Horizon is exactly what they want to be or what they should be kind of building everything off of.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
But they don't have that many other options.
Well, I feel like, with a lot of, like, they have to let Naughty Dog do what Naughty Dog does because they make amazing games. And so, like, they're not going to tell them what to do. And I feel like there's been so many God of War games that have already come out. So they're probably, like, there's already been a God of War multiplayer centric game in Ascension. Like, it did have a single player campaign, but kind of the point of that game was that it was the first God of War multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I think I very much agree with you, though. I would rather see Horizon 3 come out and have a multiplayer mode, because I think that would really take the pressure off of it to be like a slam dunk. Because if you got a full Horizon game and there's a co-op mode and there's a couple maps and a couple missions you can do and people are into it, I think that's a resounding success. But if you just be like, oh, we're going to release this Horizon game and it's a game as a service cooperative thing, I think it's more risky. So we'll see what comes out of that. I think we'll hear something about it this year because the whispers have been going around long enough now, and we really haven't gotten any Horizon news. And I think Forbidden West came out in 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
I think maybe the last expansion, or the first and last expansion, Burning Shores, was in 2022, maybe 2023.
I think 2023 was Burning Shores. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, we're coming up on 3 years since the game launched. So,
to their credit, Horizon's core cast of like characters that kind of encircle Aloy are all unique and could be fun to play as. So maybe that's the element they're leaning in towards. Like, you could have people come in and out. But yeah, I think again, Sony doesn't have something else that's like that. Are they going to make an Astrobot like open world MMO together? Probably not.
No.
So
no. And please don't do that, Sony. All right. Suicide Squad finds itself back in the news this week. So last week we talked about how for those subscribers to PlayStation Plus, you have free access to Suicide Squad. And with that free access, Suicide Squad has officially released its last update ever. And it kind of wraps things up, and it also fixes something that everybody was complaining about, which is that the Batman in this game was the Batman from the Arkham Knight series, or the Arkham series, I should say. And they say, oh, just kidding. Those guys were clones. that wasn't the real Batman. The Arkham Batman is still alive. And it's like, okay, cool. But with this update, we also got an offline mode. So if you really like the game, there is an offline mode. You don't need any future updates. Just know that no other content is going to be coming down the pipe. And I do respect them for adding an offline mode so people can still enjoy the game if they are, having a good time.
Enjoying the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with that offline mode, can you play with friends like offline, or can you play co-op in any capacity, or is it just single player? Do we know?
I am not entirely sure, but
I'm assuming it would be single player, but yeah, I've seen the ending. It is interesting because it is kind of okay. The animatics in this game are really, really good, top notch.
They are
great looking stuff. But once they started releasing new characters, I think right after the Joker, you can tell that they were like, we're not investing much more in this game. So the animatics became like, even when they introduced Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, he is introduced via like slides that are drawn like a comic book. So the ending of this is done in a similar fashion. You get to the final Brainiac. You're about to confront him. Can I spoil this? Does anyone care?
I mean, just say minor spoiler alert.
Minor.
Skip ahead a minute.
Or major spoiler alert.
Okay.
Skip it 2 minutes. You get to the end. Brainiac's like, I'm gonna kill you guys, and then all of a sudden Superman punches him real hard, and then Batman punches him real hard, and they're like, hey, it's us, we're back. And I feel like that's as much as you get. And then the Suicide Squad's like, well, listen, Amanda Waller's gonna make us prisoners, so let's just dip to different dimensions and fight crime. And that's what they do. That's how the game ends. And they leave the Justice League to like rebuild Metropolis.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, here's my question. Do you think that we could have another Arkhamverse game after this? That there will be like another Arkham Batman or a Superman game set?
I mean, of course you could. Like, you can write your way out of anything with DC and Marvel with the multiverse stuff. Like, I for one would like to see a Superman game. There have been very few Superman games. But I don't think a video game company in 2025 wants to make a Superman game, because you're looking at it of like, how can we monetize this? Because I think the best Superman game you could make is probably a single player $70 game that has a story that you play through, but that is it. And so it's like, Superman is not a character that lends himself easily to being a video game character, because there's no like level up process. He's not a character who depends on gadgets and stuff like that. So it's not like Batman, where it's like, oh, now I have the explosive gel, and now I have the extra grapple grippy thing. It's so Batman's made for video games. He works quite well. So I don't know. I think there's been a lot of Arkham games. I don't know that we need one just yet. Maybe further down the line when they can make more of a gameplay and graphic leap. But yeah, story wise, I don't doubt that they could write any. They could justify whatever they want.
Yeah,
so.
But I mean, like, should they? Do you think it's a lost cause? Like, after Suicide Squad tanked the IP.
I mean, I think surface level fans don't know that it's the same universe. And so if they said in this last update, oh, he's still alive, don't worry about it. So like, I don't know, maybe they take Batman and plop him in Metropolis. Who knows? But yeah. Okay. But speaking of superheroes, Marvel Rivals, back in the news again. We talked about it a lot last week. So a couple different things. One of the things we talked about, Phil, you brought this up last week, was them putting bots in games after you have lost a few games. So for players who have been on a losing streak, you will find yourself in a lobby with bots, but they won't specify that they're actually bots. And there has been a trick that some players have been using in the game, playing as Invisible Woman, to identify when this happens. If you're invisible and you go near the enemy's spawn, the bots will kind of see you. Whereas players obviously will not. And there's a glitch where the bots will get hung up on seeing you and then won't move forward. And so I don't really have a problem with them doing this, especially in quick match. It's not like they're putting bots in a competitive game. I think, give people a leg up. And also there's nothing wrong with playing against AI. There are 3 different AI levels in Marvel Rivals. Use them, especially if you want to learn how to play a new character and you're shy about things. Why not?
I think it makes the game more fun that you're not constantly losing, because I think that's the fear for a lot of online games for people that I try to talk into playing Marvel Rivals. They're like, well, I don't know, everyone's going to be so good. Yeah, you're gonna get better, and those little wins really help put some wind in your sails.
Yeah,
and I guess it feels bad being in a bot lobby, but what doesn't feel bad? Winning a game. I'll take a bot lobby.
Yeah, exactly.
On top, there is something I read today about how NetEase is also working on finding a new thing that people are doing to cheat, I guess, which is use keyboard and mouse via an adapter on PlayStation or Xbox, because that gives you the auto aim of using a controller, but with the accuracy of using a keyboard and mouse. They're working on bans for those as well, which is pretty interesting. But I guess most exciting, they have said their plan is to add a new character every 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty ambitious. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm worried for them. I would have said 8 weeks maybe. But that's very ambitious, and there have been tons of data mines and leaks for the supposed characters that they're going to be added. We've seen a lot of stuff for Ultron that has come out recently. I've seen stuff for Cyclops as well. I've seen a lot of X-Men, particularly a lot of X-Men, and I think that's probably because Marvel is starting to insert the X-Men into the cinematic universe. So maybe they're going to start having more X-Men come out with movies and TV shows and stuff like that. I was gonna say, I feel like it also has to do with X-Men 97, in their development cycle, looking back, they probably added in a bunch of X-Men once that show really hit, because I feel like the stylized choices they're making, Storm looks like that version of Storm. I feel like they're kind of hopefully building off that, because X-Men 97, what a wonderful show. Yeah, it was a absolutely huge success for Disney Plus. So that makes sense. Makes a whole lot of sense. I guess there are characters that I would really like to see them add into the game that I haven't really seen leaked, though. I really want Ant-Man in the game.
Oh man, that'd be nuts.
I really want Ant-Man in the game, and he is nowhere to be seen in the leaks, and I feel like there's lots of different things you could do with him. And you don't have to make him giant. But I think that would be an awesome ult if you just went giant and stomped around for a little bit or something like that.
Some AoE damage. Man, an Ant-Man seems like it'd be so challenging, because you'd have to make every map capable of being that tiny, the tiny version of levels from Astrobot, yeah. Which would be amazing. You're just running through the battle, dodging feet, but you could still jump the same height and do all that stuff. But I think it would cause a pretty hefty redevelopment of all of their levels to be appropriate for, okay, Ant-Man can jump on this ledge, and yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you could wrap him growing and shrinking into his abilities, where he just walks around as regular Ant-Man most of the time, or I was thinking Star-Lord has that fire the fire in every direction move or something. Ant-Man could have something like that where he goes tiny and he's just attacking, bouncing around as a little. Cool. Yeah, and he could be invincible because he's so tiny for a short period of time or something like that. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not expecting him if they do add him, because again, I have not seen anything. If they do add him, I'm not expecting him like, I can just go into big mode and just hold this, and they're going to have to redo all the maps now. So
Yeah, I'm excited for that. The Fantastic Four characters. The fact that they dropped 2 at once, and they're like, yeah, we're going to do some every 6 weeks. Are you sure, guys? Are you sure this is okay? This is a lot to do. You just blew 12 weeks of stuff. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
By the way, it's looking like it's going to be coming out towards the end of February. That's when we're going to be getting Johnny Storm and the Thing into the game. So look forward to that as well. All right.
Yeah.
Enough Marvel Rivals. So we got lots of more people, guessing about Grand Theft Auto 6. And we saw some of these rumors come up last year, maybe even in 2023 as well. But people think that Grand Theft Auto 6 will actually be more than a $70 game. And people are saying, well, it should be priced at $100. And we think that people will pay $100 to play Grand Theft Auto. And now we have economists and people who are, studiers of the stock market, watching that Take-Two stock and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't believe that. I think Grand Theft Auto will be a $70 game. Mm-hmm. But, I think people need to remember, because a lot of people were too young to remember this, Grand Theft Auto Online did not launch alongside Grand Theft Auto 5. And, that's been the case with most Rockstar games, where their multiplayer is like taking a back seat. And then once they launch the single player, that's when they really focus on the multiplayer. So I think that maybe they will charge to get into the new Grand Theft Auto Online. And maybe that's how they make up the $30 there. But also the microtransaction machine of Grand Theft Auto Online makes up for this. Yeah, and I don't know if these economists and these people, they really understand all of the little microtransactions that are happening in these games, and that's how they make their money, not just by charging the $70 up front.
Yeah,
so.
Dude, okay. I don't know. I think if there is a $100 version of Grand Theft Auto, I think it will be like $120 for the premium platinum shark card and the game.
Sure.
I think there's a possibility that GTA 6 launches with some version of their online world on day one, just because it's been cooking for so long. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do think that it won't cost $100 for the base game. I think it's going to be like, get everybody in the door at 70, get them online, get them spending money online as cheaply as possible. It's just smart business. But what I do dislike about this thing where economists are saying that it could cost $100 is that they are opening the permissive structure for Take-Two Interactive to be like,
okay,
you'll pay $100.
Would you though? Would you?
Would you really? Are you just messing around? We're gonna seal this deal or what? I think that. Hey, shut up! Don't stop saying this. You're gonna give them ideas. Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so hope that it's not $100, but we're just gonna have to wait and see for that one. And moving right along, because we got to get into our predictions. So Assassin's Creed Black Flag, for those who don't remember, that's the pirate game that Skull and Bones was supposed to be, or should have been.
It's the good pirate game.
Yes, that Ubisoft made. So apparently this game is getting a remake, and this is coming off of multiple rumors that were started last year, but we were getting more evidence that there is going to be a full Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake, and that it will in fact be a remake as opposed to a remaster. I don't know if I trust that completely, because I know that the Ezio collection, they were like, we're redoing the graphics, and it's like, you're kind of not. You're kind of like AI redoing the graphics, but it doesn't actually look good. So but apparently they're adding new features to the game. I do know that there was a multiplayer in Black Flag, so I'm sure that they will be nixing that and maybe adding something in its place, similar to how, like, in the Mass Effect games, they're like, oh, this game isn't popular anymore. We're going to get rid of the multiplayer requirement and just change that system. So we'll see if there is a remake of this. It is rumored to come out this year, probably this holiday season. If Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to come out, I think it'll, like they said, it's now delayed till March. I think it's probably going to be in April. It would make sense that you would put an Assassin's Creed remake slotted into the holiday season slot. So yeah, I don't know. Would you play a Black Flag if it was remastered or remade?
Absolutely. The Black Flag is the good Assassin's Creed game. I used to think it was Brotherhood. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was the reigning champ until Ubisoft in all their glory were like, hey, what if we made a pirate game? You got 2 swords, you got a ship, you can jump from your boat, grab a rope, and swing it on someone else's boat, kill everyone on it, take their ship. So yeah, that game is incredible, and I would play a remake of that. It looks so good, like when it came out. And even kind of going back and looking at it, like the costume designs, the ship design, the songs, it all just works so well. I think Assassin's Creed, Odyssey was great for me. And I really liked Origins, but I don't think they've been able to recapture the lightning in a bottle that they had with Black Flag. Like, it just was so brimming with discovery, and like you wanted to just sail around in your ship. Like, it felt good. So yeah, I would play that. I really hope, like you said, it's like a full remake, not like fully ground up, but like pretty close, like Final Fantasy VII level remake where they have recrafted the game in a new engine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Those are some pretty high expectations for me. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I hope so too.
Ubisoft is so desperate, but if that is the case, and I think that is like their winning scenario, I don't think it's coming out this year. I think we're going to see it in 2026.
Yeah, which is crazy to say now. Oh, my God. Right. All right. And last up on the news list, we want to make sure we mention this because it could be announced tomorrow. We got some hot Switch 2 news. Phil, is that right? Apparently Switch 2 is going to be announced tomorrow.
Well,
says Reddit.
So this is Reddit. Who said this is Nate the Hate and his reliable podcast. There's leakers that people start to trust. But he has said the Switch 2 is allegedly up for reveal on January 16th. Nintendo will release some video, do some sort of event. That is tomorrow, as of the taping of this particular podcast. But here's the evidence to which I think we are looking at a possible Switch 2, because I feel like we've been talking about this for a long time. I have been doubtful the Switch 2 will ever come out, but there has been so many leaks in the past, I think since the new year, just about like the Switch, like pictures of the charger, or like what will be the dock, a lot of renders of what it will look like, magnet information about the Joy-Con like analog sticks.
Yeah.
And Nintendo has let out some things saying they're not happy with leaks, but they haven't really done a lot of taking down, which makes me think that they don't want to go through the trouble of taking it down because they are so close to announcing anyway, that they're like, okay, these leaks are happening, let's just get it out there. So that is my all in the pro column. In the con column, if you make a story about the Switch 2, people will show up and read it. So that is the both equally weighted. Could happen, could not happen. But I am very hopeful that Nintendo is like, listen, we know it's been a while. We're gonna release in like March through May. Here you go. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think it's possible. You know, all of the news that we've been reading over the last, I would say, 6 months, maybe even longer than that, you know, has indicated that it's slated for a March release. You know, I think historically, Nintendo products either come out in March or November. And so it would make sense unless there's some sort of manufacturing problem, which I don't think there should be. But yeah, I think it's definitely possible it could be announced. My thing, I don't know. I'm a little wary of this. I wish the Switch the best. But the fact that all of the rumors are still saying that it's the Switch 2 has me a little concerned that it will just be an upgraded version of the current Nintendo Switch. And I think something that's been really cool and innovative of Nintendo in the past is every console they've put out has tried to do something new. From, the Wii, the Wii U, the Switch was like, hey, we made Game Boys and we made consoles. Now we made one that does both. And so I think that they've found their balance of like what their market is, and they've kind of settled into that of like, this is going to be a Switch 2. But I guess what I'm a little doubtful of is that there's going to be like a bunch of new features that are different from the Switch. I mean, I hope that they will change their online stuff, as I hope every Nintendo generation. But, we'll see. But if stuff comes out, be very curious to see what happens.
You will be let down about hoping for that better online treatment. They don't give a two rats tails about that. They're just like, wow. You play tails. The way we want you to play, or not at all.
Right.
So I have heard of a couple things that I agree with you. Like, N64 to GameCube to even looking at the handhelds, Game Boy Advance, SP. The DS, like they always try to do something new, but I do think that they are pretty gun shy from the Wii U being such a big fart in the wind, so to speak, using that technical term. I think that they're like, let's just make another Switch, let's just get a bunch of money and then do more like Nintendo Labo stuff or things that are more creative on the periphery versus we've got the thing that's making our bread and butter. That said, I have heard that allegedly one of the new features is that the Joy-Cons become like a mouse, pretty much like they have an RFID feeder or reader in them to like be able to point and click pretty effectively.
Like a little Wiimote?
Like a little Wiimote, which would be like the best of both worlds.
Right, right.
So yeah.
Okay.
We'll see soon. We'll know.
Yeah, I guess we will. All right, but for things we might have to wait a little bit longer to see, we're moving into our main topic for our 2025 predictions. Phil and I have 3 predictions each that we have written down, and some of them may be the same. So I'm curious to see what happens. Do you want to go first or second, Phil? What is your first 2025 prediction?
Well, here's the thing. I am predicting, you're probably going to predict the same thing. Switch 2 will arrive this year.
I did not write that down.
All right.
I got scared of the Switch news, so I was like, I'm not betting on that. Betting on that.
It's happening this year. I'm not sure, but I'm rolling with the leakers. Let's go. Also, all Nintendo, get it together. It's time. You see the last Pokemon game? You see the last Zelda game?
It's been 8 years.
So much. Yeah. What's your first prediction, Paul?
My first. Well, hold on. Let's get more specific with yours over here. So, is it coming out in March? Is it coming out in November? Is it coming out tomorrow? What is the situation?
By June. I'm going to say by June.
By June. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. I'll take that. All right. I'm going to raise the stakes. I'm going to start off big with a Grand Theft Auto 6 prediction.
Oh.
I believe. I know in my loins that Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out on November 25th, 2025. Lock it in. That's when it's happening. It's a Tuesday, 25/25. It's happening. It's happening. And there's not really a lot of games that have been slated for this holiday yet. There's kind of a hole there. And I think the other game developers in the game industry, they're like, we know what's happening in holiday 2025, and we are not going anywhere near it. So
let's stay out of the way. Let's just stay out of 2025. Okay. Yeah. Okay, my second prediction then, it is written down. GTA 6 will be pushed to 2026.
All right, it's on. It's on.
It's on. The clock is ticking. I hope to be wrong about this one. I want them to make a GTA game, but I know that Rockstar doesn't give a single GD about us, and they're like, we'll release it when we'll release it, and we'll make infinite money. It's fine.
It's fine. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I think that my date is pretty solid.
That's not
gonna lie, because here's the thing. It's 11/25/25, It's the last Tuesday of November, 3 days before Black Friday. I mean, it's a Tuesday. Video games release either on Tuesdays or Fridays now. And Grand Theft Auto is strong enough. They're like, we don't need to put it on sale. We'll just have it available.
It's around. What do you want?
Yeah. All right. So we'll see who wins that one.
Damn, I was gonna say I would go June 6th, 2026, be 666, just because Rockstar is funky that way. But that is a Saturday, so I doubt it.
I mean, I don't know. Rockstar at the end of the day can do what the hell they want because they are the video game money machine. All right. Okay. For my second one, this one's a little tempered. This one's not too exciting. I'll save my more exciting one for the last. Ubisoft will go through a massive wave of layoffs and restructuring this year, which may result in selling different parts and franchises to different companies. I think that Assassin's Creed is really the only thing that they are going to stick with. I think if Shadows is not a success, they might just sell the company flat out. Yeah. But I think they are currently going through what EA went through 10 years ago, where like EA used to be one of the biggest publishers out there, and now EA still exists, but they're really like, they just focus on their core games of like, we're going to make sports games because that's what we know how to do, and every so often we're going to release another game
you actually want.
Yeah, like Jedi Survivor was a success. We'll take like, so every 5 years, we'll release a game that is kind of a gamble that might work. But other than that, we're going to stick to what we do, and we're going to hone everything in. That's really the only way I see Ubisoft surviving, to be honest.
EA, I think, is better for that. Like, they got too big for their production schedule. Mass Effect was such a massive hit for them. And then they kept, like, I feel like it was the shareholders being like, get us more this quarter, get us more this quarter. So they just were pumping out games until we were stuck with things like Dead Space 3 and Need for Speed Rivals. And it was like, what is this even game? Is it finished?
Yeah, what are we doing anymore?
Okay, yeah. So Ubisoft might become a smaller dev or might sell some franchises. I hope that, man, it'd be really cool for Activision to pick up Far Cry and to, like, make something wild.
I mean, maybe. Let's let Far Cry be.
Activision's not going to do anything.
Like, we've had enough Far Cry games. It's okay. It's okay.
I will play all of them, every of the Far Cry games, even if I don't finish or past 5 hours. Okay, I've got 2 more predictions here.
Okay.
So I'll just make one a bonus prediction because it's less video gamey related. So we will hear about Insomniac's Wolverine this year at Summer Games Fest. I don't mean like on their main stage, but I mean there will be like a PlayStation Direct or something where we will see our first, hopefully, bit of gameplay and cinematics from Wolverine, letting us know what it's about.
Okay, yeah, solid prediction there. I agree. I think Sony doesn't have a lot of things lined up. They need one first-party game to come out. I don't know if Wolverine is ready to release this year, but I mean, it would be great to get some gameplay. So that would be great. All right. For my last prediction, I predict that during Summer Games Fest, sometime during Summer Games Fest, Halo Infinite will be announced for PlayStation Network. And I believe that no one other than hardcore Xbox fans is going to care. Like, I feel like PlayStation users will be like, cool, I guess.
Yeah. Wait, free on the PlayStation Store? Free if you have PS Plus, do we think?
I think that there will be a paid version of Halo Infinite. Maybe it's like you have to pay $20, buy a ticket, $20. Halo Infinite is coming to PlayStation. And then they try to make more money off of microtransactions or something like that. Or they could do a deal with Sony. It could be PlayStation Plus, but then Microsoft gets, some sort of compensation. I think that Microsoft is going to work with Sony a lot more this year than they've ever worked with them ever before. I don't think they see them as really competitors anymore. Microsoft is going to, I think, take their biggest step in their transition of becoming a major publisher as opposed to being a console maker. And that will be evident when we see Master Chief on the PlayStation.
Just standing up there next to Crash Bandicoot. Okay. I feel like this is I don't know if I want to take back any of my predictions, but I think maybe, hold on, the spirits are telling me by the end of this year, we're going to hear about Game Pass on PlayStation.
How would that work?
Just like another service you subscribe to on PlayStation that gets you just a library of games, because Xbox is, again, barely a console developer anymore. They're just becoming the Game Pass company, and maybe even Xbox switches its name to Game Pass.
Maybe they switch their name to Game Pass. Perhaps. I could see that. But I think there's a conflict of interest with Sony allowing them to do that, I feel like. Because then they're allowing a direct game subscription competitor to be on their system. And I think Xbox mentally is there. I don't think Sony is there yet. So, but I don't know. But now you can play Game Pass on smart TVs, So what are we really talking about?
Why isn't it just everywhere? Why can't I play Game Pass on my smart glasses? But you know what? I'm going to take out my GTA 6 will be pushed to 2026. I'm removing that, and I'm putting Game Pass coming to PlayStation in our announcement.
Okay. All right. Whew. All right. Well, that yawn of mine indicates it's time for the episode to end.
It's time for the show to go to bed.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us for episode 62 of the GGG Podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you haven't already liked and subscribed to our podcast, please do so over on our YouTube channel. And if you're listening to the audio-only version on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, follow us over there as well. I'm a little bit sad that TikTok's going to be going away. Going to be missing out on our Golden Glazed Gaming TikTok community, which we have a substantial amount of followers over there, but I'll try to be uploading them over to our YouTube channel and our YouTube shorts and stuff like that, since they've changed their rules recently, where now shorts can be 3 minutes long. Oh my god, except it kind of works sometimes and it kind of doesn't. So I'll be figuring that out this week. All right, any last thoughts to leave the audience with, Phil?
I hope that the Switch 2 has 4 controllers on it. 2 on the side, 2 on the top and bottom.
Great. Perfect. Honestly, whatever. We're going to see tomorrow. Everyone's going to know about the Switch 2, and then the episode's going to come out, and we're going to be speculating about things people already know about. So I'll try to get this episode out quick. All right. Peace out, everybody.